morning, Mike. Good to see you're back. Why aren't these immigrants photographed and fingerprints taken as soon as they're put in a secure centre, says Jean. Well, both of those are very good points. They're supposed to be put into secure centres, but we haven't got enough secure centres. They're supposed to be fingerprinted. They're supposed to be logged. They're supposed to be identified. But, of course, as we know, so many of the migrants who come into this country claim they don't have any documents, claim that they're from one country rather than another. I mean, according to the piece in the Times this morning, the bulk of the people who have disappeared and have gone missing, who have come here since 2022, are from Afghanistan. Some of them are from Eritrea. Some of them are from Syria. But none of them are from Vietnam, as far as we know. Those are people who have come in recently. So there is plenty of information out there, but nobody seems to know what to do with it or how to deal with it. Let's talk now, however, to Robert Bates, Research Director at the Centre for Migration Control, because I'm sure, Robert, this story hasn't probably come as any great surprise to you. Very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike. No surprise at all, sadly. I think what we're seeing now is the unravelling of the Conservatives' handling of the borders in the most drastic and dramatic ways. It's almost they've outdone themselves with this.
Yes.
The higher education sector, they've decided to essentially mollycoddle and allow them to have up to 600,000 international students at any one time.
Yeah.
The idea that all of them are coming here to study the classics, to pore over the Corn Laws or anything like that, or useful skills, STEM subjects is for the birds. What happens really is a lot come over here, use it as a backdoor to enter the gig economy, plunge through a one-year course, maybe maximum, and then thanks to the innovation of the Conservative Party, they've managed to compound the problem with the graduate route that then gives them another 2 years.
Yeah.
To stay unimpeded.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we tend to make a lot of sound and fury about the illegal migrants that come on the boats that we can watch there coming in every single day, particularly when the weather is reasonably nice like this. But you're quite right. By far and away, the more damaging numbers are coming in completely legally. But again, this is something I've been saying for years. There's no way that all of these people coming in from India and Bangladesh and Nigeria, which I believe are the three main countries that they come from, are coming here to study. And even if they are, there's no way they're going home after their study is over, because it's clearly a backdoor way to live in this country.
Exactly. I think it was Suella Braverman who made the point. A lot of these students aren't paying for an education. A lot of them are paying for a visa, and it's convenient for a lot of these incredibly low-grade universities to prop up a business model that would see, I think, a few dozen really have no right to exist. They offer no academic virtue. I mean, the likes of University of Sunderland, University of Portsmouth, University of Plymouth that have London branches, and you think, okay, well, what's the plan behind that? And it essentially makes it easier to pitch to those overseas students and say, look, come study in our London branch. You'll be able to access the gig economy. You'll be able to you'll have more employment opportunities, and don't really worry about the studying. Right. We can take or leave. And you can see that. I mean, I was in Islington the other day. The University of Portsmouth, its entire London campus seems to be a couple of rooms rented out in the Islington Town Library. So right. I think that sums up the state of play,
right.
really.
And I think that we should also make these organisations and educational establishments complicit in this, because they're all about making money, and they know that if they get more and more students coming from overseas, they will get more and more money pouring into their coffers, and they don't seem to care about the unintended or possibly intended consequences that many of these people, having finished their courses, will seek asylum and will probably get it.
No, they don't give a jot, and why would they? So long as they're able to keep their the money coming in, and they're able to fund explorations into why British colonialism was so evil, or why we need to go faster and harder towards net zero. They wouldn't care really the societal impacts. And a lot of these universities are putting pressure on inner city accommodation supplies and things like that as well. So the idea that it has a spillover, I'd argue is minimal really, if anything.
No, exactly right. I mean, I'm looking at some figures here that were published in the Daily Mail. 6,136 asylum cases were lodged by foreign students in the 12 months to March of last year, which was a four-fold increase on the previous year. Foreign students made up the largest group of the 21,525 asylum claims from foreigners who entered the UK on visas, which is another 154% increase. I mean, is there any part of the Home Office that is keeping an eye on any of this stuff? It doesn't seem to be.
No, well, it doesn't. But I'd argue they've been outgunned on this front by the Education Department. I think Gillian Keegan is really fanatical when it comes to boosting as many as many foreign overseas students as possible. You know, they set the 600,000 target a few years ago. They exceeded that already. Our calculations suggest that in the next couple of weeks, we'll be hearing that there's, you know, 700 to 800,000 international students in the UK at the moment. And you do have to wonder, you know, how many of these are actually viable intellectual courses, how many are them, or how many are here purely trying to find a back door to entry into the UK. And it's just been made so much easier for them under this Conservative government. It's heartbreaking to think that, you know, people put their trust in these politicians to bring it down to tens of thousands, whilst they're simultaneously essentially spitting in our faces and saying, no, we know best. The education sector is our #1 priority. We're going to prop up a load of subpar universities with overseas students.
Yeah, it's absolutely scandalous. Scandalous indeed. Robert, thank you very much indeed.